Hello everyone. Just stopping right outside of town here because I forgot to put earplugs in, but I might as well let you know what's going on. Today we're going camping. So I got this thing here. Oh my gosh, look at it. It is the Nelson Rig Hurricane something 40 liter, and as you can see it's ridiculously big and it's slipping off. So I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. But I've got about 5 hours to go before we get to the campground, and I'll stop and talk about some things along the way, but it's time to get started. Well, this is a really nice way to start the trip. Some construction. Yay! And they're working on the whole road too. That's not just a little bit. It's not just one lane. No, they're gonna work on the whole thing. All right, everyone. So, what made me want to take a naked sport bike on a 5-hour road trip to a campground? It was a long journey, but one, I keep getting the question, how is this for long trips, and you know, what's it like to tour? And I think I even said, you know, it would make a good light touring bike, light sport touring bike, something, you know, for day trips. I wouldn't try to take it across country, but you could. It's just not for me. I did install this yesterday, the Dart Classic fly screen. That's helping out a lot. We'll talk more about that when I get back. I'll do a comparison of what it's like without one, what the Piranha is like, and then what the Classic is like. But if you're going to take some long trips, I would suggest some kind of wind protection, just a little bit. It's still a naked bike, but there's some other ones out there now. If you don't like the Darts, some people don't, the Triumph branded one is pretty similar in price, and some people think it looks good. I don't, but to each their own. And it's also pretty easy to install, and so I heard that it works really well. Power Bronze has one, and then there's a few others out there, but I was waiting on Dart. That's what I like. I like the bracket. I was a little late getting going this morning because I was working yesterday when I should have been packing up and getting ready to go. I was working on the installation video, trying to get this thing on here, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, but now that I've got it on, totally worth it. And so that's one thing. I want to see how this bike does on like a long day trip. I'm going about 5 hours, about 200 miles. I could go less than that. I could cut an hour or so off of the trip, but I'm taking the back roads because I don't want to sit on the interstate and deal with the trucks and everything else on this bike. That's just not what I'm into. So the camping thing, I've evolved on my whole camping philosophy. I used to talk a lot of trash about camping. And if that was your thing, I don't care. Do what you want to do. But for me, my philosophy was always, I have a house. Camping, it's just pretending that you don't have a house. It's make-believe. It's cosplay for people with mortgages and apartments, and it still kind of is. It just makes more sense to me now. I can see the appeal. A few weeks ago, family and I, we drove out to Idaho, and that was a long trip. Lots of chances to see a lot of camping trailers and things go by, and just the wife and I got to talking about, hey, let's give it a try. You know, maybe camping might be fun. We were staying in hotel rooms, and she from her job, she knows, you know, how hotels are disinfected and how they're supposed to be disinfected, and then how many times they really aren't. So she was like, you know, a campground, you know, a tent and your own sleeping bag might actually be more sanitary than sleeping in a hotel bed. And I'm like, okay, fine. So if you'd rather do that than stay in a hotel, that makes sense. Also, I live within a day's ride to some of the best motorcycle, mountain, twisty roads in the country, if not the world. And I have not taken advantage of it. I was just I feel like it was a missed opportunity. It was something that was always calling to me, something I always wanted to do. But I always felt a little guilty about, like, well, if I go and take a trip, I'm not going to want to go out there and come back and want to stay the night, because I don't want to ride for 10 hours, or I don't want to ride 5 hours, get to some twisty roads when you're already kind of tired, and then try to ride back home. So, you know, it made sense to make it an overnight trip. And I guess I felt a little guilty with spending that extra money to get a hotel room. Would be at least $100 a night for a decent one. But campsites, you can get a campsite, a tent camping site, for $29 a night. The one I'm going to, it's a little fancier. It's got nice bathrooms and washing facilities and some other things, so it's a little more expensive. I think I'm paying about $40 a night, but that's for 2 nights. So $80 to camp out, and by the time you buy some of the gear, that's some initial cost. But then let's say I stayed 2 nights at a hotel, that's $200, and so I'm paying $80 for 2 nights to camp out. Did have to spend a couple $100 on gear, but that's going to pay for itself after a couple trips. So economically, it made good sense, and wouldn't have to feel guilty about taking a weekend and going and enjoying some of these mountain roads without spending a fortune just on lodging. The other thing is, I saw a few videos, mainly it was her 2 wheels, doing some solo camping trips, and just made it look so fun. I'm sure she's not ever going to see this video. Please send it to her if you see it. But that really inspired me, like, just the fact that you could just take a nice long ride after a long week at work, relax, set up camp, grill a steak, drink a couple of beers, and just get some peace and quiet. And I can do that while waking up the next morning and having a lot of fun on some roads for just what it costs to fill up the tank. So that really kind of cemented it. Like, okay, that is something I got to give a try. The problem I ran into is I'm still having a hard time finding a good mounting solution for saddlebags. I have a Pisgah US 20 tail bag that I didn't bring with me, because I also have the what do they call them, the Duo Pisgah Duo 20 saddlebags, and I took those and put them on my Street Twin and used them to go across the country a couple years ago, and they worked great, and I think they would fit on this bike really well. Just need to find a simple mounting bracket. Now, I could buy like the Hepco Becker mounting brackets that they use for their SIBO mounting system, but I think that's a couple $100. So I tried something cheaper. I got a pair of saddlebag brackets for like a Bonneville, like a classic air-cooled Bonneville. Not classic, but early 2000s. And I'm going to find a metal shop that could maybe bend those into shape so that I can attach those to the passenger peg mounting points, and see if I can then use that to strap the saddlebags to. And I could do that. Those cost $50, and I can try and see if that works. And so I'm like, I can't wait to do that. I need to get out this weekend, or this week. And so I went ahead and got this giant 40-liter tail bag by Nelson Rig, and it mounts up fine to, or straps down to the Kriega mounting tabs, so it works great that way. Also, the reason I don't just bite the bullet and get the Hepco Becker system and just not worry about the Kriegas is eventually I would like to add another bike to this. I want to use this for trips like this, for around town, for commuting, for fun, and then get something that's better for long distances, a more dedicated touring bike, something like a BMW R1200 RT, maybe a GS, something like that. And this bag could fit on the back of one of those bikes great. It's basically just a giant dry bag with shoulder straps, and so you could put all of your valuable stuff in there, things that you maybe wouldn't want to leave on the bike, especially overnight, or an easy way to carry a lot of gear in and out of a hotel room or to a campsite, whatever you're doing. So I basically bought this bag to do this trip and see how it worked, and I've got a full 3 days worth of clothes and gear, and my tent and sleeping bag and all that. All that's fitting on there just fine. I think I'm gonna have to cinch it down one more time because I can feel it sliding back just a little bit, which isn't too bad, but just kind of makes me nervous. But I can still feel it right at my lower back, so it's not really going anywhere. You know, say what you want about these three-wheelers that I'm behind right here, that it's not a real motorcycle, it's not really riding, blah blah blah. But look at this guy. He still has a baseball hat on, and he's out and just enjoying the nice sunny day, having a good time. Looks comfy as all get out. I don't know, looks okay to me.
Alright, so unfortunately I've had some technical difficulties. Didn't realize it till I went to go edit this part of the video. Here I'm turning off of Highway 11 onto 276, starting to go north, going to cross the North Carolina-South Carolina border after going through Caesars Head State Park and then on to Pisgah National Forest. I stopped and got some water and just to cool off just outside of Cleveland, South Carolina, and I must have done something with my microphone. It must have shifted or something and pointed downward, so all you really got from here on out was road noise. Yay! And my voice from very far away, but the whistling and the howling of the wind, it was really all you could hear, a little bit of the engine and a little bit of me. So I'm sorry that happened. I apologize. We're going to try and salvage it with a voiceover here. So, quick recap. Video started, I'm just outside of Rock Hill, South Carolina. I took Highway 5 to Blacksburg, South Carolina. That's where I ran into some of the construction and all that fun stuff. And then took a left on the Highway 29 just outside of Blacksburg and took that all the way to Gaffney. And then in Gaffney, South Carolina, that's where I took a right turn and got onto Highway 11. Highway 11 is what I was on for most of the day. Took that from Gaffney to Chesney, South Carolina, and that's where I stopped and had lunch at Tony's Sandwich Company and had one of the best Cuban sandwiches I've ever had. No, I didn't get a picture of it. I was too busy eating it. I was pretty hungry by that point. So after leaving Chesney, after lunch, I had a great ride down Highway 11 from Chesney to Cleveland, and that's where I took off my helmet and caused my wardrobe malfunction and technical difficulties, but stopped just outside of there, got some water, and then got off of 11 and got onto Highway 276, which is where my voiceover here began. So this is where I'm in Caesar's Head State Park and enjoying some of the nice roads here. All right, so here I am going through Caesar's Head State Park in South Carolina, just northernmost part of South Carolina, pretty much just before you get to the North Carolina border. Really fun roads, really twisty. You don't have to go through very fast. As you can see, hardly any traffic. Cool thing about it is going from south to north, you're going through a lot of uphill as you're going up the mountain, and so taking these really twisty roads going up the hill, for some reason I enjoyed that. Maybe I get a little freaked out going downhill because it's a lot easier to carry that extra speed or to take that speed off if you're going downhill. So going uphill made it I guess a lot more enjoyable my first time through. I didn't take it back the opposite way on the way back. I took the interstate on the way back, so I didn't get a chance to do it on the downhill. So maybe next time. But really enjoyed going through here. It was really pretty. You can see it's all nice and shady. The road's a little rough, but not too bad. But you're starting to go up into the mountains and get some elevation, and you're getting like more shade from the trees. And so it was 95 degrees earlier when I pulled over to get some water, and it felt like the temperature dropped about 25 degrees after this, and it was just lovely after all of that heat and being out in the sun in August of South Carolina. So really enjoyed this ride. Would do it again. It did take a little while to get through there, to go through Highway 11 and get through there, but it was worth it. And that wasn't a bad ride through Highway 11 either. It's a really nice country road. So now I'm in Pisgah National Forest in North Carolina properly. Stopped and got some gas in Brevard. And so this is just outside of, or just not too far away from Sliding Rock and some of the other major attractions in the National Forest. And want to be a little more careful with the speed there, because there are a lot of people parked on the side of the road, as you can see. Lots of people pulling over to go swimming, to go hiking, people crossing the road at different intersections. So I was a little bit more wary and careful through here, but just like going through Caesar's Head, really nice curvy roads. Really nice and cool. You're following the river and the stream most of the time. I see there are people going to be right next to the road, so just trying to be careful, trying to be respectful, but still just a lovely drive. Enjoyed the road, enjoyed the place. Probably next time might stop some more, take a break, put my feet in the water, cool off a little bit more would be fun. Or see some more of the sights, go for a little hike. But just to drive through was a great time as well. So after getting out of the National Forest and the more busier parts of that, it drops you down out of the mountains through some really tight, twisty turns, going downhill, which, well, it was a little scary, but a lot of fun. And taking the road from south to north to Waynesville, you go through some of the most beautiful valleys I've seen. Just a beautiful country road. So I got to Waynesville and then got onto 74. And that took me to Balsam, that's where my campground is, Moonshine Creek Campground. A great place. It's the second time I've been there and really enjoyed it. Nice, quiet place to be if you want somewhere to just relax and just hear your own thoughts for a change and hear the stream flowing by and then just kind of relax and enjoy yourself. All right, here it is. Not the site I thought I was going to get. It's right at the entrance, but it's kind of cool. It's right next to this waterfall. We got water and electricity. We got a ring. We got a picnic table. Yeah, a couple nice little waterfalls and the pool. It's a little crowded, but I don't see anybody right there right now either, so maybe they're
seasonal. We're gone for the day, but this is also a really nice quiet campground. Right after 8 o'clock it pretty much gets very, very quiet. Oh, you poor gigantic tail bag. So I was thinking on the way in, I like that this holds everything all in one bag. And I think Hepco Becker makes maybe a little cargo platform or cargo rack that comes out the back there. That might be the way to go, just so I've got a little bit of support for that part right there. 'Cause otherwise, really like this bag. Everything fits in there. You can put water bottles, fuel bottles. It's basically just a big giant wet bag, dry bag rather. And then you can just unstrap it and use it as a backpack to carry your stuff in. All right, so let's get started. Got to set up camp here.